Welcome to the Wealthy's Circle podcast, where we take a deeper dive into this year's finalists and winners from our wealthmanagement.com 2020 Industry Awards. These interviews cover the challenges, innovations, and trends in the wealth management industry and the individuals working to help advisors better help their clients.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. My name is David Armstrong. I'm the editor of wealthmanagement.com, and this is the Wealthy's podcast, where we talk to finalists and winners of the wealthmanagement.com Industry Awards. As you know, these awards are designed to recognize the programs and corporate initiatives that are meant to help financial advisors build better businesses and better serve their clients. So today, very happy to be speaking to Rob Klapprodt, the Corporate Strategy Officer for Vestmark.
Hi, David.
How are you, Rob? I knew I was going to mangle the last name. It's Klapprodt.
Klapprodt.
Klapprodt. All right. Well, sorry about that.
There's a lot of confidence in there.
Well, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much. Vestmark, as you know, was a finalist for 3, and I guess depending on how you count it, 5 awards this year at the wealthmanagement.com Industry Awards. So congratulations for that. It's a great showing.
Thank you.
Before, I think it's probably unlikely that a lot of our listeners and readers don't know something about Vestmark, but can you give me just a real quick bit of a company history there, where you come from, who you serve, who your clients are, and where you fit into the ecosystem?
Oh, yeah, sure. So as a company, we've been around almost 20 years now. So we're in our 19th year of existence. And really early on, the original mission statement, which really has held despite the twists and turns that the company has made through the course of our evolution. Early on, the earliest mission statement was enabling institutional caliber investments at retail scale. So early on, we had a focus on retail investors and what their needs were, and really a focus on being able to bring investment solutions, investment capabilities that before were only in the realm of institutional investors or ultra high net worth and high net worth people with a lot of money to invest. We wanted to be able to deliver those types of investment solutions to people with, frankly, less money. So that was the retail focus. And to this day, again, we have evolved quite a bit. The industry has evolved, to be sure, but that overall mission has pretty much held intact. So that's going back, again, almost 20 years now. In terms of our clients, we work with enterprises. So by that, I mean very big wirehouses, very large banks, very large broker-dealers, large asset managers. More recently, we've had a push into the mid-market and smaller firms. To further that cause, we made an acquisition back in 2018 of a firm called Adhesion Wealth Solutions. They were the recipient of some of the awards, so thank you. I think that's part of the 5 count that you tallied in there. And Adhesion is focused on independent advisors and some of their needs. So that's kind of the clients and the overall mission. And then in terms of our actual capabilities, we do a lot of things to support the overall investment process. So there's portfolio management, there's portfolio construction, there's trading tools, client reporting tools, reconciliation tools. There's a lot of things that we do in the back office to drive efficiency and scale that kind of go underappreciated, but are very much required. Much of our heritage, if you will, is focused on technology. We are inherently technologists, but over the years, we've expanded our footprint of outsourced services so that people can look to us to provide not just technology, but a broad range of back and middle office outsourced services, as well as more investment capabilities. If I think about what Adhesion is doing, they do even more than what Vestmark was doing traditionally from an outsourcing point of view in the back and middle office. And that's part of addressing the needs of independent advisors. So at a high level, that's kind of what we're all about and some of what we do.
Yeah, so and we will talk a little bit about Adhesion Wealth in a minute. The judges recognize you as a finalist for the Technology Provider Unified All-in-One Systems, which is a relatively new category. And I'll tell you why that's a new category, because it seemed, for a long time there was the idea of, technology was something that was stitched together, and advisors' tech stack was kind of stitched together by various providers. And this notion of having an all-in-one system I guess there just weren't that many people necessarily providing that in the way that you guys do, or the way that the modern financial advisor needs it. So tell me about Vestmark One and what problem that financial advisors have that you're trying to solve there.
Yeah, sure. And when we think about all-in-one, we tend to think about it across two dimensions. There's more, but just in the interest of simplicity, there's two dimensions. So one dimension is functionality. What are the functions that a financial advisor, a wealth management organization needs to piece together to support customized investment portfolios for end clients? So proposal generation, if you think of the life cycle of a client relationship, you need to understand their needs and investment goals and objectives. You need to generate a proposal. So proposals kind of kick in. You need to be able to craft the target portfolio. So portfolio construction tools kick in. You have to be able to manage that portfolio and trade that portfolio on an ongoing basis. So there's a lot we do in that area. You need to report back to the client in terms of how they're doing. So there's a lot that we do around portfolio analytics, performance measurement, client reporting through basically any device. We do all of those things from a functional capability in regard to supporting the client. And then there's a whole bunch of things across the back and middle office that we also do as part of that functional set of capabilities that need to come together at scale and very efficiently to support, again, a large number of customized portfolios. So functionality is one dimension that we think about in all-in-one platform. The other important dimension are the types of investment solutions that you're driving. Now, we see this particularly in large organizations. As an industry, we've developed a whole slew of acronyms and investment products that go along with it. So SMAs, separately managed accounts, UMAs, unified managed accounts, mutual fund advisory, advisor acting as the portfolio manager, a registered representative acting as in an advisory or non-discretionary capacity. So there's all these acronyms that we've built, which basically represent a broad range of investment solutions that can be made available to the client. So when we think about all-in-one platforms, and this is what Vestmark One supports, it's the combination of those different functional areas that need to come together, coupled with the broad range of investment solutions that you might want to make available to the end client. And Vestmark One kind of supports that entire breadth, both dimensions of that axis.
I get it. So Vestmark One, there's an ability to deploy this at an enterprise level that would accommodate different kinds of advisors using, lack of a better word, portfolio management in different ways, right?
That's exactly right. And it's been interesting over the years. The whole acronym soup and a lot of the technology and operating silos that have evolved were largely in the realm of very large enterprises. So there was this habit, this pattern. If you needed a new investment product, if you wanted a UMA, for example, hey, let me prop up a new tech stack, a new operating silo, maybe outsource just that particular investment capability. Let me outsource that to a third party. So over the years, large enterprises have kind of created all these silos, which has made it very difficult for the financial advisor to access any one of these programs or investment solutions in the context of trying to solve a particular client investment need. So I would say the need for bringing all that together started on the enterprise side, but it's been interesting to see what has happened is even in the independent channel, if we think about smaller firms and smaller practices and independent advisors, they still want to build diversified portfolios using best-in-class ideas, research, investment managers from wherever that might be sourced. So a lot of the broader set of capabilities we really built out of the enterprise space are lending themselves quite well in the independent channel because we can support this breadth of capability and investment capacity for independent firms too. And we can do it at scale. So as an independent advisor, a smaller firm grows in terms of the clients they might support, the investment needs they need to solve, or just the raw number of clients and accounts they want to support. We're already there from a more industrial scale and strength point of view. We have that. So we can be with those types of firms over the long haul too.
Yeah, smaller advisory firms in particular there's this notion out there that what they do on the investment portfolio side is largely commoditized and can't necessarily be improved. And therefore, why not go with the three big ETFs and put them in a bucket and ship it out to all your clients, and your value lies elsewhere. It's kind of, maybe it's just the lack of technology, that maybe the lack of ease with which they could access some of these more bespoke portfolios for their clients. But it's kind of like a narrow range for these smaller advisors to use on the investment side, correct? And maybe that there's an opportunity to decommoditize investment management and portfolio management and bring that back to as a value proposition by the advisor. Is that anything that resonates with you?
Yeah, there are some things that resonate there with me, but it is a little interesting. I think there's certainly truth in looking outside just raw portfolio construction for a financial advisor to bring alpha or true value add to a client situation. Understanding the needs of the end investor, coaching them through volatile times, right, which we're living through, so they don't make say ill-advised decisions, trying to time things, which can be tricky. There's a lot that advisors can certainly do to bring value to the end client outside of portfolio management and investments. That said, simply, I think what you said regarding the commoditization of, let me just whip together a few mutual funds or ETFs, throw in a portfolio, or maybe I have one of three varieties and call it a day. You really can't build a practice anymore. I think there was a point in time where you could get away with that as a financial advisor. Those days, I like to think, are behind us. And if you really want to drive value, if you really want to have a thriving practice for the long haul, you really have to do more than that. That said, that doesn't mean that you as the advisor have to perform all those functions yourself. So this is where, and at the risk of being overly self-serving, if I think about what Adhesion is doing, right? They allow advisors to kind of put together different types of portfolios that they may want to offer to the end investor, and then they can help that financial advisor craft a more sophisticated and more complex portfolio that serves more investment needs, that allows for more customization. And can bring along with it greater tax efficiency and more tax alpha, after tax alpha for the end client. So there are options out there where you don't have to take a purely commoditized approach to portfolio management. So you can focus on, what are my value add? What am I going to do for this client that I can't outsource? Focus on that, but don't degrade the types of portfolios that you're going to make available. I am a big believer in that, and that just gets into open access to a broad range of investment solutions and portfolios and things like that, but then intelligently outsourcing elements of the process that you as the advisor don't want to or really shouldn't own, rely on experts to step in and fulfill those functions that absolutely need to be performed, but focus on the client and focus on where you want to leverage your own strengths. I don't know. Did that adequately deflect your question, or does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think so. Totally. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, I too remember when there was all of the conversation in the industry was around, you, investment advisor, financial advisor, you can't possibly add anything through investment management. So therefore, turn all of your chips onto financial planning and put it all into other kinds of services for the clients. And I think it's largely true, but it does strike me that there is an opportunity for financial advisors to prove their value to clients in the investment portfolio itself too, right? I mean, maybe there's a particular area of investment management that advisor specializes in, and they want to outsource everything else, but they want to, say, okay, well, in this field, I'm kind of good at this asset class, or I'm pretty good at looking at stocks in this particular way. And it seems to me that there's an opportunity for advisors to add value there as well. Would that be true?
Yeah, that is. Now, of course, we say advisors, right? So, there is a saying, right? If you met, one advisor, one RIA,
sure.
You've met exactly one advisor and one RIA, right? So there are certainly individuals out there that have strengths in portfolio construction or picking managers, right? Identifying managers that have a good process or a good team that can generate outsized returns over time. There are absolutely advisors out there with those skills. There are advisors that might have particular expertise in an asset class or a type of security or investment approach. Absolutely. But advisors you can't be all things to all people, right? You're not going to necessarily have the expertise to build a diversified portfolio, to solve all the types of investment needs and problems and challenges and goals that clients might have. So, outsource, right? Be able to flexibly outsource where appropriate and add your value where you can. Now, one thing that we do see, despite all that, right? Advisors want to make sure that there's still some perceived value to the end client. So I think it's unfair for a firm, for a home office, for a technology provider to ask the advisor to completely relinquish all control, all involvement with what's going on in the investment side, because the clients are looking to them as the expert, at least someone that can represent and articulate what's going on in their portfolio. So you have to have some sort of knowledge, some insight, some visibility into what's going on. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be completely hands-on. That's appropriate and right for some advisors, but not for others. So, part of that, something that we think about is how can we pass information back, content, research, insights into what's going on to the portfolio that might be managed by a third party. How can we pass that back through to the end investor, to the financial advisor, to facilitate an instructive dialogue about what's going on in the client portfolio, so that advisors can maintain at least perception, right, quote unquote, of what they're doing. So there is some balance there.
Yeah, for sure. I did want to get onto Adhesion Wealth. So you guys at Vestmark were moving along in the large enterprises, the wirehouses, the big financial services firms. And what was the hole that you saw, or the opportunity that you saw, that Adhesion Wealth fit? Adhesion Manager Exchange, Adhesion Wealth Manager Exchange, was recognized by the judges for the TAMP this year. Where was it? What opportunity did you see there, and where do you see it fitting in?
Yeah, so historically, our heritage was focused on the larger enterprises, large banks, large broker-dealers, large asset managers, and the like. Adhesion has been a client. They're a user of Vestmark One. They had been for over 10 years prior to the acquisition. So that made certain elements of the merger completely straightforward. And the interest was back to that independent advisor community. I would say, as a firm, Vestmark Inc., Vestmark proper, we did not have a good sales and customer support model to directly deal and interact with small advisory shops. We were really targeted and geared up to support the home offices of these larger firms, these larger organizations. That's how we were set up. And Adhesion, because they were focused on the independent advisor market, they had a sales model down, they had a client support model down, appropriate to directly support investment advisors, and they had a broader set of services at the ready that advisors could tap. And generally speaking, the smaller the firm, the more they may be looking to outsource elements of the investment process, of the technology stack, of the types of services that they want to make available, versus the larger organizations that, by and large, right, of course there's exceptions, but they just need enabling technology to do it themselves, which is where we were coming from. So Adhesion, with the broader set of capabilities, including the manager exchange, they're just really set up to help advisors think about the types of portfolios they want to make available, select OCIO providers and research providers. They're accustomed to doing all that. They can assist with manager due diligence, and they can really allow the advisors to focus on the client, and they can run virtually every aspect of the portfolio on a go-forward basis. So they had the right sales model, the right support model, the right set of capabilities for smaller independent advisors. So Adhesion was, us really looking for our toehold into the independent advisor community, the independent advisor channel, which is rapidly growing. That was the genesis or the real interest behind the acquisition. And again, the manager exchange is just one example of what they can do for advisors on a pretty a la carte basis. There has been, and I'm sure your audience is probably aware of this, there's been a proliferation of model marketplaces out there. And by and large, it's large fund complexes and ETF providers basically giving away ETF models. So you don't pay for the asset allocation, the model itself. The firms are getting compensated through the underlying vehicles. Adhesion, of course, has those, but they also have a wide range of separate account strategies, actively managed strategies, not in a mutual fund format or vehicle, but in a separate account vehicle that brings with it a great deal of customization and tax efficiency. So that's something a little different versus the proliferation of model marketplaces out there. They also have separate account managers, and they have assistants and services to help advisors stitch everything together into a unified managed account, a diversified portfolio, and they have all the services there to run it on an ongoing basis, assist with tax managed transition capabilities, and some of the more client-focused services that advisors may not have time to do.
And so there's a support team there at Adhesion that can help advisors with these tasks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right.
John, you've already spoken a little bit about the growing need for advisors to differentiate around investment strategies, and that's maybe what gives rise to the model marketplace that we've seen, right? I mean, many firms are, model marketplaces arising over the past couple of years. Is there anything that Vestmark brings to this? I know you guys, from your backgrounds with some of the big enterprises, have done a lot on the back end, right, of trading and execution and this kind of thing. Correct? Is that part of where your value comes from at the Vestmark side?
Yeah, it is. So first and foremost, it's all about that enabling technology, driving hyper customized portfolios at scale. So, and I've kind of glossed over even some of the back office things that we do to pull that all together. I mean, I know more than I want to know about reconciliation. We have patents and this on, but it absolutely matters. Compliance is a big deal. So there's a lot that we do from a technology point of view, from a compliance. Oh, that's my assistant knocking. Sorry about that. So there's a lot we do from a compliance point of view to assist as well. So first and foremost, we have the technology. So Vestmark one that we spoke about, it really starts there. But then we also, within Vestmark for larger enterprises, we have outsourced reconciliation, outsourced compliance, outsourced performance administration, so that even larger organizations, they can kind of pick and choose where do they want to build in a competitive advantage. Where do they want to focus on their core competencies? And whatever is not core, whatever that might be, we have technology and outsourced services to step in and fulfill that need. And it has evolved. So it started more back office focused. We also have trading services for larger enterprises within Vestmark. We also have a manager marketplace, so that through one advisory contract, you can access a network of managers. So very similar to the Adhesion Manager Exchange. So basically, any point in that overall wealth management supply chain, if you will, in the investment process, wherever there might be a friction point, we want to be able to step in and provide either technology or services to help firms really scale in providing that highly tailored advice to their clients. So there's a lot that we're doing, again, between technology and services for large enterprises too.
The judges this year also recognized Lonnie McDonald as Chief Marketing Officer of the Year as a finalist, and unfortunately passed away, Lonnie McDonald. But I know in some of the supporting material, Vestmark was giving him a lot of credit for kind of turning the organization kind of away from just being a tech firm to more of a client-focused firm. Can you speak a little bit about what he brought to the company and where you kind of see his legacy sitting in Vestmark's history?
Yeah. So, I mean, Lonnie, I can't say enough great things about him. He was just a genuine guy all around. He did, maybe one word to use would be empathy. I think as individuals, we like to think we're empathetic. As a firm, I would admittedly say we have and had an engineering-centric type of culture, which at times could be inward-facing. So he brought a level of, call it corporate empathy and awareness to really focus on, we've been good about this from a roadmap point of view and a development point of view, right? Engaging with our clients to understand what they're trying to do and really partner with them to build innovative technology. That's how we evolved Vestmark One over the years, hand in hand with our clients. But when I think about a lot of our messaging, how we would talk to people, even our little things like our website, it was very engineering or technology centric. So Lonnie was very good at asking hard questions internally, right? Open-ended questions that made us think and really think about the perspective of our clients, of our prospects, and how we engage with them and how we talk to them. And that legacy has held to this day. Yeah, so he's dearly missed.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great. Rob, we're at the half hour. I'm going to let you go. I want to thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on all the finalists recognition at this year's wealthmanagement.com awards. It's well deserved. So good job.
Great, thank you. And I miss your in-person event. You guys throw good events, so I look forward
next year. We're going to be there. Return. I hope so. I hope so too. All right, and if so, I will see you there for sure. Otherwise, I hope to see you in some other virtual environment before too long.
All right, well, be well.
You too. Rob Klapprodt, Corporate Strategy Officer, Vestmark. Thank you very much. And this is David Armstrong, Editor-in-Chief, wealthmanagement.com, and you've been listening to the Wealthies Podcast.
This content has been made for information and educational purposes only. The views and opinions represent the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views and opinions of wealthmanagement.com.